Hello and a very good afternoon, good morning. Welcome to Crafters TV. My name is Ben Mosby. Thank you for joining us on this Saturday afternoon or Saturday morning, depending on where you are in the world. It is time for our craft along. It has been, do you know what, this morning, play your crafts right. It was hectic, it was fun, it was chaotic. There were some winners. There were some losers, but we won't talk about that too much. And that was kind of hectic. This is a little bit more laid back. A little bit more done in real time, let's just say. If you've not joined one of these craft alongs before, award nominated shows where basically we take one of our amazing products and we have one of our amazing experts here who will craft along with you in real time. So by the end of the show, hopefully you have got a crafty make to share with everybody else. There's no here's a little bit that I made earlier. There's no let's skip to this part here. It is all done in real time and you can get nice and interactive with us as well. So if you're crafting along with us, first of all, let us know. And secondly, if you get stuck, let us know. If you need a measurement repeated, get in touch. If you're not quite sure what's going on, get in touch on Facebook and on YouTube and we'll get all those questions answered and make sure that everyone can craft along. If you haven't yet got the goodies that we've got on this particular show, you can grab them on the show. And once you've got the goodies delivered to you, you'll have this 2-hour craft along to watch back. If you're not yet a subscriber on YouTube, then make sure you subscribe to us. You can bookmark the show and come back to it once you have got your amazing layering delicate panel dies, which is what we're going to be looking at over the course of this show. 4 you'll get in the bundle with some Nina cardstock, but we'll look at that in just a few moments' time. Let's get over to the lovely Jan, who's going to be taking us through this craft along. And if you weren't watching earlier on, you will have no idea at the awesomeness that we are all going to be creating this afternoon. Awesomeness, Jan, isn't it?
Hi, yeah, well, I like the description.
Awesomeness.
I just put these things together and then break them down again so that I can teach them to you. And I absolutely love this side of the job. You know that I do. I'm sort of from that teaching background and I love being able to sort of share what we're doing and enable you basically to actually make it yourself. We're going to have our Ben crafting along again. He's got his little kit over there at the ready. And if you weren't watching earlier this morning, this is what we're actually going to be making. So when you actually look at it like this, it would probably need something to just stand it against because there isn't a back on the card. But the reason for that is that it's like a sleeve and we've got our card actually hidden inside. So this part of it here is loose and it's going to pull out of the card here all the way until it pops open.
Yes.
And you've got that lovely die cut piece there in the middle. So we've used, well, I've gone for the peacock feathers in the centre there and a little tiny bit of the entwining vines just to do a bit of decoration. And then it literally folds together and slides back inside. And then I've just used an extra little clipping here just to decorate that front as well. So we're going to go through what you need in order to make it. And then we'll give you a few seconds to get that organised if you haven't got those together straight away. So what we popped on the list then again, that we need the white stamping card to make part of the card, and then my sample was all done in turquoise, so when I wrote the list I've put turquoise on, but again I know a lot of you like to change the colour scheme, that's fine. So you're going to need a piece of A4, I put plain turquoise cardstock, mine's actually a pearlised one, and then a satin turquoise, so that's like not quite the shiny mirror card, but again translate these cardstocks into what suits your project. And then a piece of 12 by 12 pattern paper, and mine came from the Enchanted Dreams paper pad, which is why we've popped that on there. And then I've got my 2 dies. I've got the peacock feathers and the entwining vines from those lovely panel dies. And then a piece of plastic sheet. Now I will explain that a little bit more when we come off the title screen there and explain what I mean by that, because I know 1 or 2 of you might not be sure. I put on it not acetate. Yeah. I'll come back to that in a second. And then a couple of suitable sentiments. There's one on the inside of the card, one on the front of the card. So again, whatever you've got in your stash laying around there, just to actually pop those sentiments on at the end. And then again, coming back to those additional elements, I started calling this a basic toolkit now, because I know when I'm preparing these details, I don't change this very often now. It always consists of a Gemini with its plates, an A4 guillotine, standard equipment, scoreboard scoring tool, bone folder, standard equipment, scissors and a pokey tool. These are things that we use all the time. Left that pencil and ruler on there just in case we need it. 6mm and 3mm red liner tape, and then I've popped the all-purpose and the tacky glue because they both do their own jobs, and the double-sided tape pen and the dotty tape pen. So you've got the choices there as to which ones you want to use. Now, just to explain a little bit more about the plastic that we need, it wants to be something that's quite substantial but acetate's too firm. It wants to be able to move. Now I use these, let me just pop it on there so that you can see it. I use these to store a lot of my things in, and they're just a plastic sleeve that you can slot things inside, and then they've just got the little fold over bit at the top to seal it. So it's quite a decent weight plastic, and it's not flimsy. My first thought was to use the, you know, the ones that you fit the A4 pieces in. I call them Polly Pockets, but that is a little bit too flimsy, and I know they can tear. We don't want this to tear. So something along these lines, if you've got the, I know I've got some smaller ones of these that are like a CD case size as well, they would work. But not as strong as acetate or packaging, because we need this. This is what's in the mechanism that allows this part to slide backwards and forwards, and it's hidden inside. If it was acetate, it wouldn't allow that movement. It would be too stiff. So have a route around your craft rooms and see what you've got that's suitable to use for this. And we only need a small sliver of it. Doesn't need to be this big. We're just literally going to cut a piece off one end of it here. So that's what I meant by the plastic. So we'll give you a little while to sort of hammer rummage and see what you've got and get all those bits and pieces, choose your colour schemes and everything, get everything ready, and then we'll come back and start in a couple of minutes time.
Super excited for this craft along. A little bit nervous, but it'll be fine. It'll be fine. We always see it through, Jan and I. Lots of you tuning in. Thea's in saying, hi, Ben and Jan. Oh, yes, Thea, who messaged earlier with the haloots. Haloots means hello in a funny way. I'm still crafting whilst watching the show. Barbara's in from Indiana. Laurie's in from Gilbert, Arizona. Or is that Gilbert? Lynn says, hi again, Ben, Jan, the CTV team, the social superstar, and everyone. We've got Rachel on the socials this afternoon. Georgianne's in from Florida. Kimberly's with us from North Carolina. Helen says, hi, Ben, Jan, and everyone else from a cold North Wales. And Gilmore on YouTube says, I will be crafting along vicariously through Ben. Wish me luck. If you want to jump in, as we've always said, if you've already got these goodies, you can craft along. Now you know exactly what you need. But if you haven't yet got the layering panel die collection, we've got it for you on the show right now. So it's all 4 of the dies that you're going to receive. So the elegant butterflies, the entwining vines, which you'll see in this show, the peacock feathers, which you'll see, and the perfect peonies too. All of those come in this bundle along with 16 sheets of your Nina cardstock. Normally works out at $56.95 or $70.79. Everyone's saving £13.10 or $16.29 today. And if you're in Club Inspire, you've got your discount off that as well. If you're platinum, it's $35.08 or $43.60. So definitely worth jumping in, grabbing this collection if you like the look of it, and then you've got a 2-hour craft along to use when you get your goodies back to you. Now, as well as, of course, Jan leading the craft along and you crafting along at home and me attempting to craft along here in the studio, we have another fantastic crafter who's going to be crafting along in Norfolk this afternoon, and it is the lovely Lisa Turner who is with us. Hi Lisa, how are you? Oh, can we hear me? Can we hear you?
Hello?
Are you there? Yes, excellent stuff. I think we can hear you now. Lisa, is this the first time you'll have crafted along with us here at Crafters TV?
No, this is my 3rd time I've been on.
Oh, excellent stuff. So you're obviously enjoying it.
Yes.
And have you ever seen a card like Jan's going to be creating this afternoon? It's a bit different, isn't it?
No, it looks very good. I'm very excited.
Excellent stuff. And have you been crafting a long time?
A couple of years now. I've
Okay.
been doing sort of cards and boxes and things, so yeah.
Excellent stuff. Well, listen, at the end of the couple of hours, hopefully all 3 of us will have something that's looking pretty good. Have you got everything that you need to get started?
I think so. The only thing I'm missing is the plastic
Oh, okay.
thing. But I'm sure I can find something. I'll root around.
Yeah, have a route. We will have plenty of breaks during the show, so you'll
Yeah.
have time to look at that. And I guess we don't need that right at the start, Jan, do we?
No. We've got a lot of preparation to do before it's part of the mechanism to put it together.
Yeah. All right. Well, Lisa, we're ready to go. You're ready. Jan, are you ready?
I'm good to go, yep.
Okay. Am I ready?
Are you ready?
As ready as I'll ever be. Shall we get started?
I think
Let's do
so.
this thing
I
then.
think
Come
so.
on, Jan. Here we go.
Right, so just a quick note of explanation. My sample and the pieces that I've got ready for Ben are going to follow that turquoise theme. Now, obviously, there are only so many pieces of turquoise card in a pack, and I have actually run out. So for the benefit of doing it today, I'm going to go with the same papers, but I've picked the lilac element. You can see the papers have got both colours in there anyway. So this one, I went with the turquoise parts of it. Today, I'm going to do exactly the same thing, but my finished sample will all be in lilacs today. So wherever I've got the pearlescent paper, I'm going to use the pearl one, and where I've got the satin one, I'm going to use this paler one, and that's what I've just picked out of my stash to use. So we're going to start off with the stamping card. So I just want you to take one sheet of that to get started. Now we're going to, as always, do all the cutting first, and I'm going to ask you to label up, because there are quite a few different pieces by the time we've done all the cutting. So as we go along, I want you to label them on the back, so that when we come to actually put everything together, you know which piece is which. So if I bring my guillotine in here, I'm going to take the A4 piece, and I want you to turn it onto that long side in your guillotine, so you've got the long edge across here, and I want you to cut 2 strips at 4.5 inches. So I'm just going across my guillotine to the 4.5 mark and taken one piece off it, and then I'm going to do the same and take another one at 4.5 inches there. Okay, just keep this bit to one side for now. So I've got those 2 pieces that are now 4.5 inches wide, and then I want you to turn these onto the long side, and we're going to trim one of them down to 8 inches. So that's just literally taking that little sliver off, and I'll do you the sizes in a second. And then the second one is going to come down to 7 inches. Okay, so again, just keep all the scraps out of the way. So let's just pop that down for you. We've got 7 inches by 4.5 inches.
Here we go, the screenshots.
Yep, and then we've got 8 inches, by 4.5 on the second piece. So if I pop those there for you, just to grab a shot of those. And that's going to be the internal part, that the bit that pulls, that slides out.
Okay. All
right, so we'll just pop those to one side for now. Then we're actually going to create the actual sleeve that it all fits in. So this sort of turquoisey element here. So if you've got your turquoise pearlescent card, or whatever you've chosen for that outside piece, we're going to cut that into position now then. So I'm going to take my lilac one here. And again, let's have a little look. We need to cut one. I'm going to go again down that long side here, and we're going to take some pieces off this like we did the first one. So the first piece needs to be 5 inches wide. So I'm just going to chop that straight down at 5 inches. And then the second piece, I'm still keeping it in that same orientation, wants to be 6 inches wide. So you can get both of those, and then you've got a little bit of scrap there.
Yeah.
So one of them's 5 inches, one of them's 6 inches, and then we need to change the length on them as well. So on the narrower one that is 5 inches, we're going to trim that down to 7 3/8. All right, so my guillotine's got those 1/8 of an inch markings on. All right, so it's not quite 7.5, just 7 3/8, and take the end off there. That's piece number 1. And then piece number 2 was the wider piece, and this one wants to be taken down along that long edge here. We're going to take it down to 6 3/4 inches. So again, I'm just coming up to the 6 3/4 mark here, and just taking that edge piece off there. All right, so again, let's pop these on here for you. You have got one that measures 6 along the longer, 6 3/4 along the one edge by 6 inches. And then we've got the narrower piece that is 7 3/8 of an inch by 5. So again, if I put these side by side for you, can you see the written? Yeah, we got that on there for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's going to make our casing. The two pieces are stuck together because they couldn't get the length out of one sheet of A4 cardstock. So I'm going to pop those to one side. All right, and then I think I might actually start working on those before because I'm just conscious we're going to end up with a lot of pieces of paper. I think we might come back to the guillotine later. I do normally do all the cutting at the beginning, but there's going to be a lot of pieces of paper. So I think what we'll do is pop the guillotine to one side and we'll actually work and get these two pieces in a manner that we can work with them before we move on to the rest of the cutting. All right, so are we happy to continue with that? We've only done the 4 cuts. I think everybody should be with us.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'll just read a few comments and we'll quickly run through the board so you can see everything. I've actually got a couple of questions which we'll do as well, but just so that you can see all of the different dies that you're going to get within this collection. So this is your beautiful perfect peonies. We saw this earlier on in Wake Up Call this morning. So that's the first die that you're going to get in this collection. Here are those gorgeous peacock feathers which you're going to be using over the course of the next couple of hours if you're crafting along with us. Then we've got the beautiful entwining vines. Again, going to see aspects of those in this craft along. And then on top of that, you've got those beautiful butterflies as well. Don't forget, you're going to get 16 sheets of your Nina card included, 3508 or 4360. And a good question, actually, before we move on, from Olga, who wants to know, what is the difference, Jan, between stamping card and Nina?
The weight of it, basically. They're both really smooth surfaces, so they both work well for things like colouring. But as far as construction's concerned, your stamping card is 300 GSM, which I think is about £100 over in the States, 90 to £100. The Nina card stock, I'm just trying to think, is 180 GSM, I think. So considerably, it feels thinner, it feels more flimsy. Is that right, Ben?
Oh dear, I'm going to put my glasses on. This is sad, isn't it? Here we come, substitute teacher again.
It's either 160 or 180.
Oh, 216.
260. Oh, I don't know where I got that from.
216.
216. Yeah. Right. So I was way out there. My apologies. I should know that. So yeah, it is thinner though. If you feel them, you can feel the difference between the actual stamping card and the Nina cardstock being a bit more flimsy. So for what we're doing here, I want something that's going to hold up to the test of the fact that people are going to want to keep pulling this in and out of the card.
Yes.
So the thinner the cardstock, the more sort of chance there is of it tearing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any more questions like that, feel free, because there's going to be breaks where we give everyone the opportunity to catch up. So yeah, don't feel afraid to get those questions in. Mary Beth says, good morning from Minnesota. I've just saved this video to craft back. Mary, love this card and the colour scheme. I'm just watching for now. Don't have the good stuff to make it, but I really enjoy it all the same. And Panda Craft says, I think I may attempt a Christmas themed one. Let's see how it turns out. Yes, and that's the whole point again, is that you can choose the different elements that you use. If you want to craft along kind of verbatim, then you can do. If you decide to change the papers up, change the dies, of course you can, once you've got the whole concept of it. I think we're all caught up. Rachel, our social media superstar, says there's no problems reported on the social media. They said no problems reported on the road then. Went back to my days as a travel reporter. No problems reported on the roads. You're up to date. Back to Jan.
Right, okie dokes then. So what we're going to do is we're going to sort of start and construct some of these pieces, because I don't want you to end up with a big pile of paper and all these different sizes that are confusing. So to take the two white pieces, we're going to work on those first, and I'm going to bring in my scoreboard on the inches side and my score tool. And on both of them, I'm literally just going to score at 1 inch. So I've got the short side against the edge of my scoring board, and I'm just going to score straight down that vertical at 1 inch. All right, that's the only scoring we're going to do on there.
Yes.
And the same on the other piece. So again, make sure it's nice and straight up against that edge and score it at 1 inch. Okay, and then we're actually going to pop that piece together so that we've got it ready to assemble. So what you're going to do is where we've done the score line, just fold that away from you and give that a good burnish, and then the same with the second piece, fold it on the score line away from you and give it a good burnish. And what we're going to end up with are 2 pieces that essentially stick together. Again, this was too long to take out of 1 piece of cardstock.
Oh, I see.
All right, so we're going to stick these together, and this is going to give you that means of having the bit in the middle that we're going to stick that die cut to. All right, so all I'm going to do is take my red line tape, and I've actually got the 6mm one here.
Okay.
And just on that 1 inch that we've scored over, I'm just going to pop right next to the edge of the cardstock, a line of tape on that side, and then a line of tape up near the fold.
Okay.
And we're going to stick those 2 pieces together so that those are ready to use later on in the craft along.
Right.
So just give that a burnish, get rid of all the air bubbles, and then we're going to take away the red liner off it.
I've got to remember to put my stuff in the bin today as well, because
yes, you'll be making a mess.
Jake's given me a bin.
All right. And then literally you want the other one with, so that you've got both the little folded inches up in the air, and we're literally going to stick these together. So however you find that easiest, I actually find it easier to flatten it out and flatten this one and pop them together so that I can marry the ends up like this. But however you find that best works for you, we're literally going to pop those 2 pieces edge to edge, preferably straight if you can manage it, Jan. And
So you were talking to me then for a second?
no, just me. There we go. That's better.
Like that? So you got a little...
And you've got that little 1 inch piece in the middle. That's the one, Ben. And then you can fold it back on itself.
Seagull.
The longer layer is going to be the back layer. He's like the naughty child at the back of the classroom, isn't he? So that longer piece at the back and the shorter piece at the top, just burnish those score lines in to make sure that everything's sat nicely. And this is actually going to form that mechanism here that pulls out for that main card. You can see here we've got that piece.
Oh, okay.
All right?
That's the bottom
So
of
we'll
the...
come back to that in a second.
Yes.
Pop that to one side now, that's together. Then we're going to come to the other 2 pieces that we cut, which are going to make the casing, the sleeve, that it fits inside. So we've got a little bit of extra cutting and some scoring to do on these. So just while I think about the guillotine, on that larger, well, I'm saying larger, the longer piece, the 7 3/8 by 5 inches, I want you to pop it back in your guillotine. And I want you to have a look at that 5 inch mark and just take 1/8 of an inch off one edge. All right, so technically across here it's going to measure 4 7/8. All right, now we could have literally done that when I cut it, but I'll explain as to why we've taken that bit off in a second. This is actually scrap, but I'm just going to keep it so that I can explain why we've done it.
Okay.
And then you're going to need your scoreboard again then to score on the other piece. So this is the 6 3/4 by 6 inches. Okay. So this is going to be the back of the design. We've got our element here that's going to slide in and out. We're going to make a casing that wraps around this because again, the project's too long to do out of a piece of A4. So this piece is actually going to wrap around to make the casing.
I see.
Okay. So I'm going to leave that one that we've just trimmed on its own. And then on this one, I want you to turn it. In fact, no, we'll do the long sides first. So on the long side here, we just want to score at 1/2 inch all the way down. Okay. And then move to the other side. And we've got a 6 inch width. I want you to come in 1/2 inch and score at 5 1/2. So we've created 2 1/2 inch channels down each side. If I lift that up, you can just see those score lines a little bit better there. Yeah?
Yes.
And then turn it so that you've got the short edge against that edge of the scoreboard. And I want you to score at 1/2 inch again. So we're sort of coming across those two that we've already done to create a 1/2 inch on this edge. And then what I want you to do is just move it away from the edge, keeping it as straight as you can, about 1/16 of an inch. All right, these markings on your board are 1/8 of an inch. We don't need to go as far as a full gap. So I've just literally come away from the edge of my board a smidge.
Yes.
And I'm just going to run, I'm going on to the next line now, which is actually 5/8. And basically run a parallel line down this one. So you're creating two lines here that are about 1/16 of an inch apart.
Right, okay.
So it's not very easy to see it, but there is a double line there. Okay, and the reason I've done that is just to create a tiny little spine at the top, because we're creating some bulk inside here. We've got the 2 layers of stamping card, we've got that die cut in there which I've double die cut and stuck together. So just to create that little tiny bit of a spine, it's only like a 1/16 of an inch, literally, just so that it doesn't sort of buckle when we fold it all through. So pop that down. Now just coming back to that little sliver that we cut off this piece, this is the equivalent here of the 2 score lines. So what I've taken out here is the equivalent width of these 2 score lines, so that when we've got all this folded, it will fold around the edges nicely. If I'd have left this the full size with that extra 1/8 of an inch on, you'd have struggled to wrap this one around it. So that's why we just took that sliver out of the equation. So on the piece that you've scored then, we're going to pop those edges in. So I tend to just run my fingers along the back of the score line and then literally burnish those down that long side. Okay, like so. And then we're going to do the same across the top. And you've got that double score line there. So it's just a case of I've gone on to the second one and then really just bringing it back that little tiny bit on itself, just to create that little spine in there. So you can just nudge it back, that tiny bit that we put in there, and it just creates, it really is only a little tiny piece on the top, but it just allows for that bulk inside. All right, and when you've got those in place then, just make sure that you burnish everything into place. So you should have your score lines across the top and the sides all folded in now. And then if you take your scissors, whether you've got the large ones or the snips or whatever it is you want to work with, and we're going to take away now these corner pieces here. So we're actually going to cut these away. We don't need those little tiny squares in the corner. Can you just see where I've marked those there? Yep. Now I tend to do this all in one, but you can do it in stages if you wish. If you want to cut the square away, you're going to come to this side of the score line and cut that score line away. All right, so I'm literally taking the score line out, and then I'm going to turn it around, and then I'm going to go to the right hand side and cut the score line away, so that this piece has got the score lines on it and this is rubbish. And then I want you to just take that little tiny notch, and you'll be used to doing this if you've made boxes and things like that, just to taper off the edges of those 2 pieces so that you've got a slight angle on them. And then the same at the other side. So I've got my score line, I'm going to come to this side of it and cut it away down to where they cross, and I'm going to come at the other side and cut this one away, and then just taper those edges. And all it does by tapering them is when you come to start wrapping things around, there's no horrible little edge pieces sticking out where you don't want them. And then just again, to keep it nice and neat, I'm going to take it to the bottom, so the opposite end now. This is where we've just cut the pieces away. And again, just taper that one. And I'm literally just cutting a tiny little sliver away there, just to angle that edge. And then the same on this side. Again, just that tiny little bit up to the score line there, just so that you've got those nice, neat pieces ready. Okay, so that's all rubbish, all the little bits that we've snipped away. And then what's going to happen is this one should now wrap around the other piece that we've got left, like so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so you can see there that we've now got the casing part, and then this piece that we've put together earlier is the bit that's going to slide in and out. Yeah? So I'm not actually going to stick this together just yet, all right, because we've got some bits to do before we get that far. So the next bit is to start cutting again. So again, I think I'm going to stop there, Ben, and let everybody get to that stage. Make sure that we've all got to that point with the casing part.
All right.
And then we're going to start cutting some more mats and layers.
Olga is saying, thank you, Jan, that this was to do with the difference between the Nina and the stamping. I will try using cardstock cover stock since I don't have stamping card. First item for the cart. Alexia says, what adhesive type is red line tape?
What, sorry?
What adhesive type is
it's
red line tape?
It's just double-sided tape. It's like if you have, you may be more used to seeing it on a roll like so.
Yeah.
So this is actually our finger lift tape, which is a double-sided tape on a carrier. The white piece is the carrier. This is exactly the same thing with the red line on it, but it is much, much stronger. So I have a bit of an addiction to this. I use it for construction and things like that. It really does stick well. I'm not saying that the ordinary double-sided tape doesn't, but I find over time, particularly if you're gifting things that are going to be in an environment where it's either central heated or air conditioned, it can dry out sometimes, the thinner one. So this is much more sturdy, and certainly for construction it's my go-to one. So it is just a clear double-sided tape. The red colour comes from the liner that we basically take off it. All right, that's the only difference in it.
Alexia just saying, I'm a colourist and doll painter, but new to paper crafts, and I love it. Hello again, says Adriana, was going to watch on replay, but yard work, can't wait. Probably can, to be fair. Probably can. Leave it, stay with us. And I love Eleanor's comment. You might have to show the finished project again here, because Eleanor says, this is going to be really nice, but what's it going to be?
I called it a slide and pop.
Right.
Yeah, purely from that mechanism that slides out of the sleeve that we're making. It slides across here and then it pops open to reveal that beautiful design inside.
That's hopefully what you're going to end up with.
So it is a card.
Yeah.
It is a greetings card. It's just a slightly different design there. Okay.
Just whilst you're waiting again, if you're just catching up, I can show you very quickly the water reactive ink pads that we've got on the show for you as well. We've popped these together to work with the Centura Pearl that we've also got on the show as well, but 13 different colours in this collection, which should be what, $64.87 or just over $90, £40 today if you're platinum, or $56. I would direct you back to last night's Colour Me Happy as well if you want to see lots of different ways to be able to use your water reactive ink pads. The colours that you've got, yes Johnny, I will be able to read them without any help. Please do not read these in my ear. If I get in trouble, it's my own fault. Fuchsia, you've got smoked emerald, green topaz, frosted jade is in there as well, midnight, pine tree, there's some lovely colours in here, grasshopper, spring meadow, crushed velvet. Oh, confusing myself. It's easy, Ben. Parakeet, oasis. Of course, it's never ending. Honeypot, and last but by no means least, anthracite. So 13 different colours in your water reactive ink pads. £40, $56 is the deal on those. Let's head over to Norfolk and see how Lisa is getting along with us. Are you all up to speed, Lisa? Is everything going well so far?
Bit done, and then the cover bit.
Yep.
Oh, so all looking good, yeah. Is there anything you want to ask Jan at this point, or are you all good?
Will my MIDI be okay for cutting the dies out?
Yes, the dies fit inside the MIDI perfectly. Yeah, you only need something that's the size of the die.
Excellent
Thank
stuff.
you.
Yep.
I'm so pleased you said that, because Jake's given me a MIDI over here, so if it wasn't Lisa, both you and I would be stuck
Okay.
at that point. So yes to that. Just to say as well, a couple of years you've been crafting. How did you get into crafting? Was it through us or elsewhere?
No, it was elsewhere. We've got like a little local sort of charity craft shop where they sell second-hand craft items.
Oh yeah.
They did some classes there, and that's how I got into it.
Oh, amazing. And then you found us, and as they say, the rest is history.
That's right, yes.
And here you are, crafting in front of the millions watching around the world.
Yes.
Well, listen, it's all good that you're up with us. All good that we could use a MIDI, thankfully. And I think, Jan, we are ready for part 2.
Right,
Thanks,
so we're
Lisa.
going to bring the
Thank you.
guillotine back in and we're going to do some more cutting. We need to create several pieces. We need a matten layer that we're used to traditionally for cards that goes on the front of the design. And then I've also got some pieces on the inside here that we've got a piece on the inside of that insert and we've got a couple of pieces here. And we're going to create all those and label them up so that we know what everything is. So the first one's going to be the matte layer for the front. So on my sample, I'd got the turquoise satin card. I'm now going to go to that paler lilac. And again, I'm going to pop it in my guillotine on the long side there. And I want to cut a piece on here that is, let me just have a little look. I'm just going to double check that because if that's 6, I need a piece that measures 5 3/4. I think I've written my measurements down wrong. Let me just double check that in there. That piece measures, is that a 6? No, that's right. I'm good. Yeah. So we're literally going to take this one then down to 4 3/4 inches. Okay. So along the long side, I'm at 4 3/4. And then I'm going to rotate and cut it at 6 inches. And that's going to create you the piece that fits on the front of here. And you've just got a nice little border all the way around the outside there. So on the front, on the back of here, if you've got a pencil or a pen handy, on the back of here, we'll call this one the front matte layer.
Okay.
Just so that once we've got all these pile of pieces of paper, you know what they all are. So literally the front of the design, and it's the matte layer.
Right.
All right. So then we're going to need a layer to go on top of there, which is going to be from your chosen pattern paper. Now I've got a full piece here, and again, have a look at, this is going to be the bit that people see first. So which bit do you want? I quite like the bit with that little bit of music score in the background there. All right. So literally we're going to cut this one at 4 1/2 inches. So I'm just going to take a whole length off my piece of cardstock there.
What pad is that before anyone asks?
This one's from the Enchanted Dreams.
Enchanted Dreams.
I'm sort of a little bit in love with that one at the minute. It seems a shame because we've got a gorgeous designs on the other side as well.
Oh yeah.
But I wanted that more muted sort of design.
Yeah.
So I've taken a strip off at 4 1/2 inches that's got the area that I want to work with. Okay. And then again, we're going to rotate it to the other side. And we want 5 3/4 inches. So again, have a look at which part of your paper. I quite like this part here at the bottom, and I've got some of that music scoring. It may be that when you look at your design, this half of it might be the bit that you want to see. So just have a play around with it, see which way you want it. But I like this is going to be at the bottom of the front of my card with a little bit of that music score in the background, and we're going to cut this one at 5 3/4. Okay. So again, we've got, if I pop on here 5 3/4 by 4 1/2, and this is the front layer.
So that's on top of the card that you just cut.
So this is going to go, absolutely perfect, Ben. I'm very proud of you. He knows what was going. So we've created that front section, just as if we were making a card front where we've done the matting and layering, and I've come down in 1/4 inch increments as I normally do.
Okay.
All right, it's just about thinking about which bit of the paper do you want to see on the front of the design there. So that's those two done. Then we need to create some more pieces that are going to go on the inside of this insert. If you remember, I said when we pulled this one out here, I've actually got pattern paper here and here. So we need to create those two as well, and they are slightly different sizes. So again, take your paper that you've got left. All right, and I'm going to cut one that measures, let me have a look, 4 1/4. So this piece, let me just check and see whether that piece that I've got left on mine is actually big enough to use. So again, just double check what you've got left and how you've cut into your paper. I'm actually going to use this piece now because I've still got a little bit of that music score left, and I've got that lovely purple that will match my cardstock. So again, I'm going to cut this one to 4 1/4 inches, and I'll write you all these measurements down.
Yes, and we can take another break in a minute. So.
By 5 3/4. That's only 4 3/4, John. 5 3/4. So again, on the back of this one, I'm going to do 5 3/4. And we'll go through all these again. Don't worry, I'll go through them all before we break. And this one is by 4 1/4, and this is going to be, I'm going to put top insert on here. So in other words, when we get our piece here, this is going to be the top insert that goes matte and layering on there. Okay, and I'll go through all this, I'll go through all the sizes and where everything goes in a second when we've cut them all. And then we need a piece that's going to come onto here, but before that I want a piece of white stamping card first. We're actually going to matte and layer this one, all right, and I'll explain why we're doing that when we come to stick it all together. So I asked you to pop a second piece of white stamping card in, just so that you've got some spare there. And again, I want to then cut the same size that we've just done, so the 4 1/4, okay, by 5 3/4. So this is the same size as the piece that we've just cut. So 5 3/4 by 4 1/4. All right, and this is going to be the bottom, matte layer.
Right.
And I will go through all these, so don't worry if you've lost me at some point. I will come back through all these, and then we're going to create a design paper layer to fit on the top of here. So I'm going to have to come back to the large piece again now. Just decide again which piece you want from it, and I'm going to come down in that 1/4 inch increment. So this time I just need a 4-inch strip by 5 1/2. So I'm going to do my 5 1/2 inch cut first, just so that I've got a nice piece here that I can use on another project, whereas if I'd have chopped it down lengthways, I'd have only got a narrow bit left. So I always think about how I'm cutting into my card, because I've got pieces here now that could be used for another project. So I'm going to pop that to one side. I've got my 5 1/2 inches, and I just need to cut this one down to 4. And again, I like this bit here with that sort of splodginess on it, so I'm going to turn it round and cut it at 4 inches. All right, so this one then measures 5 1/2 by 4, and this is the inside layer. All right, so this one's going to go on here. And then this one is going to fit, and the reason I've doubled this up is we're going to trap that little bit of dye under here. So I wanted, with just the paper over the top of it, I could feel all the bits of the dye that were stuck underneath.
Right.
This bit here, I've just used a little bit of that entwining vines.
Now. I get
so with just the design paper on its own, you could feel the ridges from this, because this is cardstock, which is why I've just added. You might think, well, why is she putting white on white?
Yeah.
But it's just to give it some structure to hide that piece of die cut. And of course, this is the bit that we're actually going to be pulling in and out. So I wanted it to be quite rigid. So let's go through all those pieces.
Yes, please.
Now and
There's a few people asking about those.
Yeah, I am going to go through them, and I'll stop so that you can do the screenshots. Any spare cards that you've got left, just pop to one side for now, because we do need to do some die cutting. So we started out then doing that front piece, which was the front matte and layer for the casing, all right? And the front matte layer itself was 6 by 4 3/4. And then we had the paper layer that's going to go on top of it was 5 3/4 by 4 1/2. So if I hold you those two together now, where that way, Jan? I still don't get the right way after all this time.
So 6 and 4.
So we've got a matte layer and then the paper layer to go on top of it that are the front of the actual design in total. Yep, so these are going to go together and create our front piece that goes on here. Okay, that was the first step. Then I asked you to cut the piece that went in the top here, and this one measured 5 3/4 by 4.5, and I just called it the top insert because it's going to go on the piece that we're inserting inside. Okay, and then we're going to just pop this one in here.
Got you.
Yep. So if any of you are struggling and you've lost me, just let us know in the comments and I can repeat any part of it for you. And then the bottom section of that piece, that panel that we made, we had a white layer just to give that sort of construction weight that measured 5 3/4 by 4 1/4.
Yeah.
And then we cut another piece of the design paper that measured 5.5 by 4. So I'm coming down in those 1/4 inch increments each time. All right, if you want to do the screenshot there.
Perfect.
And then this is going to matten layer to go on that bottom section of our insert. So you can see there that we've got the 2 pieces to decorate the inside bit. All right, so I'm going to wait there now because I know that was a lot of overload of information and measurements. I want you all to get to that point, and if you've got any questions at all, if you want me to repeat any of the measurements, just let our Ben know in the comments and we can go through any part of it again. I don't want to lose any of you at this point because we're doing really well and we've got most of that prep now to start thinking about die cutting and constructing. Yep.
And I'll give you some time. If you want to get those questions in right now, then send those in. Rachel's our social media superstar, so she'll feed those through and we can ask those questions in this little pause now. Anything you need repeated, anything you didn't understand, that is the whole point of this show. We can take our time with this. I'll just quickly show you the deal that you can get your hands on if you haven't yet got your hands on the Layering Delicate Panel Die collection. They are absolutely gorgeous. The butterflies are stunning. Whether or not you're using these as backgrounds, as the kind of forefront of your card, whether you're going to snip into them as well, there's so much that you can do with these dies. They're absolutely stunning. This is the beautiful Perfect Peonies, and I know I said it earlier on, but if you missed the earlier show, then make sure you jump back and watch Play Your Crafts Right. It's the first demo that we did on that show. Actually, one demo of the show. I might show you that a little bit later on. But that's the second of the dies that you're going to get in this collection. These glorious peacock feathers, I mean, just stunning. Can't wait to use those, which we are going to do, of course, over the next hour or so. And then we've got the entwining vines as well, which will feature on this particular make. So all 4 of those dies you're going to get within this collection. Also, you're going to get your 16 sheets of Nina cardstock included too, with a saving of £13 or $16 today. So that is $43.85 or $54.50. Platinum members, it's $35.08 or $43.60. Let me know in the comments as well if you are crafting along. Let us know if you're going to be sending in pictures at the end of the show. studio@crafterscompanion.co.uk if you want to send in pictures. Need is saying, lovely paper, Jan. I can understand your current obsession. Glorious paper, isn't it?
Absolutely gorgeous.
Pammy just saying, lol, my desk looks like a paper explosion. There's a lot
You're doing it right then.
Yes.
Yeah, you're doing it right if you've got bits of paper everywhere.
That's it. I mean, it will all come together.
It will.
In the next hour and 10 minutes. We're going to take a little break here now. So if you are, I've been panicking going, I've got a question and I'm trying to keep up. Here's a couple of minutes break for you. Any questions, get those in. And if we're all good to go, we shall reconvene after this short little break.
Welcome to Club Inspire, the Crafters Companion community where you can feed your crafty obsession. Join our fantastic loyalty club today and receive 20% off your first order. We'll also give you 250 points to help get you started. Other benefits of joining Club Inspire include exclusive special offers and discounts for Club Inspire members only, exclusive sneak peek previews of brand new product launches, and of course the Club Inspire community group on Facebook, where you can access exclusive content such as downloads, offers and inspiration, and of course you can chat and share your makes with other members. You'll receive 1 point for every £1, dollar or euro you spend, and the more points you receive, the more benefits you'll unlock. So what are you waiting for? Sign up, join the club and start rewarding yourself today.
Achieve crisp, precise, and perfect die cutting results every time with the Gemini Accessories Plastic Shim. The idea behind the plastic shim is that it creates a thicker plate combination, offering an even more precise die cutting result with each pass. Simply pop a plastic shim between your cutting plates and then roll through your Gemini die cutting machine and voila! An amazing precise cut every time. Plastic shims work really well with detailed or thin metal dies. So if intricate cutting is your thing, then the Gemini Accessories Plastic Shim is your best friend. There are plastic shims sized to work with a whole range of Gemini machines. We have some awesome deals going, so visit Crafters Companion website and find out more.
We've had to make some changes to our shipping charges and we want to keep you informed. With continued pressure on domestic shipments around mainland US, we've had to temporarily increase the cost of our regular 6 to 10 working day standard shipping service from $9.99 to $12.95 and our free shipping threshold from $100 to $125. We also have some really great news to tell you. We've introduced a brand new shipping service called Express Delivery. This is a fully tracked door-to-door service which takes 3 to 7 working days and costs $19.95. This option means you'll get your crafty goodies in your hands sooner, meaning less waiting and more crafting. We're also upgrading delivery services for our Gold and Platinum Club Inspire members who will now receive priority delivery on all of their orders. And if that wasn't enough, we've upgraded these orders to our new Express 3 to 7 day service. Your patience and understanding throughout this very busy time has been amazing. So we'd just like to say a huge thank you and we look forward to chatting to you again very soon. Aisha is just saying Jan is doing such a great job letting us know all of the dimensions for layering. On that point, top layer, inside layer.
Yes, one of our lovely customers has pointed
Sarah.
out, and I cut it right and I wrote the wrong measurement, so I don't want to confuse you any more than we have already. So the bit that goes, what that we call the top insert, that's going to go in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually wrote on the back of it that it was 4.5 inches, and Sarah pointed out quite rightly that it wanted to be 4.25, and I did cut it at 4.25. I've just got, if you saw my list of measurements here, I just got on the wrong line when I was actually referring them. Yes, so you should have cut it right, but just from the point of view of your screenshot there, that top insert, just to reiterate, wants to be 5 3/4 by 4 1/4. All right, so you should have cut it the right size. It was just my mistake when I wrote down the measurement for you to screenshot there.
Okay.
So just double check that one piece for me. All right, so are we all right? Is there any more questions, Ben, before we move on?
Don't think so.
Are we all good? How's our Lisa doing?
Scanning
Bless her.
through. Everything looks pretty good as far as the comments are concerned.
Yep.
Mary is saying, love that you give us a little bit of time to take a breath. Thank you for doing that. Samantha, Ben, that's one hippie cool Santa you've got there. Love it. Thank you. And our Lisa is doing well in Norfolk.
Brilliant.
I can see her at the bottom of my screen. She was smiling a minute ago, so we'll take that as always good. She's smiling now, so that's good. I think we're ready to crack on.
Fantastic. Right, what I'm going to do then is we're not going to stick all of it together because it needs to be done in a certain order, but there are parts of it that we can stick together just so that you've got less number of pieces hanging about.
Yeah.
I'm just conscious we've got lots of bits of paper. So first of all, the piece that we just talked about, that top insert here,
Yeah.
the one that we've just corrected the measurement on, we can actually stick that inside our white frame that we created. So I'm going to go with my Kalal, or if you prefer to use the tape pens, you want your double-sided tape pen there.
Yeah.
And I'm literally going to stick that one down so that that's one less for us to worry about there, okay? So the 5 3/4 by 4 1/4 that we've cut, let's get that one stuck in, and that's one less for us to lose in all the pile of paper, because I've got a stash of things going on my desk as well.
Yes.
So that you should just have a nice white border all the way around it that's about 1/8 of an inch.
Yeah.
And let's get that one stuck in. Okay? If you've used the wet glue, just spend a second or two spreading that glue out underneath so that it's all nice and flat. And then if we scooch that forward, we made the white layer
Yeah.
and its corresponding mat.
Yes.
So this was the 5 3/4 by 4 1/4 that we called the bottom mat layer. And then we had the 1/4 of an inch smaller for the inside layer. We can stick these two together as well.
Right.
So again, I'm going to stay with my collal. If you're using the tape pan, it will work just as well. And I'm going to stick just the design paper to the white layer.
Okay.
So that one's going to go onto here, and again you should just have that lovely little white border all the way around there. So again, I'm just making sure all that glue's nice and squidged out underneath. But I don't want you to stick this one in here yet, because we need to create that lovely little bit of die cut. If I bring this one out again, you can see here that that die cut's trapped underneath there. So we're just going to leave that one as it is for now. So we've done this section, that's stuck in nice and safe, and we've just got our mat and layer ready for this inside section. So that one can just go to one side.
Okay.
And then the two pieces that we cut for the front, so you had that layer of satin card or whatever you chose that we wrote the front mat layer on.
Yeah.
And then your piece of design paper, these two can be stuck together as well.
Okay.
All right, so just to reduce the number of pieces that we've got, I normally do all the cutting first, then all the scoring, and then get everything ready. But I think because we've got so many different layers, the fact that we can get some stuck together gives you less pieces then to get to get mixed
reduces
up.
that paper explosion.
It does. There is a
Mary
lot
said,
of pieces of paper, and it is a little bit more advanced, this one. We stayed sort of fairly simple with the design we made yesterday. So this one is a little bit more advanced, but hopefully me breaking it down for you means that you can now achieve those advanced projects just by taking it step by step. Again, I'm not going to stick it onto the front here yet. I'm going to wait until we've assembled this, but at least we've got those less pieces to contend with.
Yes.
All right. So let's have a think. I think we'll do some die cutting next and get those pieces at the ready. All right. So the main die that you've chosen to go in the pop-up piece, you're right over there. Calamity. Just had a big clang then. So yeah, the piece that we're going to put in the centre, I chose the peacock feathers here.
My handle's fallen off.
Doesn't know his own strength then, it should just click back in.
I will, don't worry.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's fine, you carry on.
So yeah, whatever design you've chosen for this centre part here, I've chosen the peacock feathers, but if you're playing with one of the others, you need that main design element. And we're actually going to cut that out of your chosen piece.
Okay.
All right.
It's all sorted. It's all back on again now.
sorted.
Yeah, it's all fine. Don't worry about me.
So we're actually going to cut this layer twice, all right? So we're going to cut one of them in the white. You should have a piece of white stamping card left.
Okay.
We're going to cut one of them out of there because, again, I want this pop-up piece to be quite substantial. So it's white on the back, and then I've actually got the same cardstock that I did my front mat layer.
Yeah.
All right, so in this case, it was that turquoise satin. So if I was following that, I would actually be using that pale lilac that I did my mat layer with for here. All right, but I'm just going to mix mine up slightly because I found in my stash some gorgeous lilac glitter card. Now, I didn't put this on the list, but if you have got access to some that matches your project, go for it. If not, you're going to use the piece that was spare from cutting that mat layer. Oh, I've just got really excited. I've just seen our Jake with a cuppa.
He's coming, but has he made it to your correct
Do you know,
specifications,
sometimes
Jan?
I get to the point where I just drink it regardless.
Jan has about 3 granules of coffee
Thank you,
and
my love.
water.
That looks perfect.
Is it good?
It does. Look at that. Well, you couldn't ask for better, could you? I do
a
get
good
very
lad.
small things. I'm easy to please, Jake.
Jake, they're moaning in the gallery now that you haven't made him anything in there.
Oh,
he's going down. He's going down.
So yeah, the piece that we cut that mat layer from, if you want to use that, there should be plenty left for you to cut into that piece.
Yeah.
Or alternatively, as I say, I'm just going to flick over. So I'm going to cut one of these in white and one of them in the glitter card. Now, if you've chosen glitter card, that's where you're going to need to bring in that metal shim again. All right, I would always use my metal shim when I'm cutting into the glitter card, because you've got that lovely cardstock, but then you've got the glitter coating on top.
Yep.
So just for it to break that coating, I'm going to pop that in. So my first cut then is going to be onto my plate. I've just got the small metal shim there because it's plenty for what I need here. And I think just my scrap, no, it's not quite big enough, that bit. So I'm going to use this one onto here. If you're using your MIDI, yeah, just one at a time,
okay.
Yeah. All right, if you're using your MIDI, it should work in there. You should have plenty of space in there.
Yes, I have.
Now, if you're using the MIDI, you shouldn't need that metal shim in there.
No.
Okay.
Do I need to tape it?
Pardon?
Do I need to tape it down?
It's easier, I think, with the MIDI, because you can hold it with your thumbs in place. You should be absolutely fine. I'm only doing this because I've got mine in the large plates, and I tend to pick them up, and the die often flies out of the gap. So again, thin metal die, we're going to add those extra shims in, and then pass that through your chosen machine, and let's get that first die cut done.
Go on, MIDI.
All right. Hey. He's got it, look, he's going.
I love me MIDI, it's good, it's
loves his
easy.
MIDI, yeah.
It's nice and simple to use. Simplicity without electricity.
Right.
There we go. Hopefully.
And then I'm just going to make sure, when we take that off, we've got that perfect cut there, look, even through the glitter card.
Oh, here we go.
All right. So we need to take that one out of its waste card.
Oh, does it leave you like a little pretty frame?
Yes, it does.
Looks like my hair first thing in the morning, it does.
And then we do have a little bit of cleaning to do, because like we said yesterday, I need to make sure we've got all those pieces out of here in order to cut it again in the white. So you will find that some of these are actually like little release holes.
Yeah.
So if you touch some of the cardstock, you'll feel that that is actually the die, and yet some of the holes are the waste.
Okay.
So just get your sort of head round where it is and release that little bit here. And then I tend to turn it over and just gently lift that die cut from the die. I find I have more control of it that way than lifting the die off the cardstock, because there is a chance that you can rip it doing it this way. Again, it's only my preference. You know, if you do it the other way and it works, that's absolutely fine. Now, you should have got most of the pieces out, but if there's any little pieces left in there...
Look, can I just think how well that is cut, in just showing how good the MIDI is. That's phenomenal.
It's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah.
I use the MIDI at home quite a lot now, I must admit.
Love that.
That looks stunning. So make sure your die's clean, Ben, and then you're going to cut a second one in your white card. And I know you wanted to do the die cutting today, didn't you? So I do get some of the bits ready for our Ben, because in all fairness, he's got his own job to do over there as well. So I do get some of the bits ready for him, but I know he wanted to have a play with the die cutting today. So I think each time we do it, Ben, you're actually doing more and more,
I'm doing a bit more, because I had the MIDI out yesterday.
Yeah,
doing all
each
of the,
time he's sort of advancing, aren't you, to the next part of the skill there.
Before you know it, I'll be doing my own craft. No, that will never happen.
You'll be designing the project soon, Ben.
Can you imagine?
It'll be me following along.
Oh, no.
So just make sure that you've got all those pieces out of the die cut.
I think I might need your die
and then
brush
again
tool.
out of the die itself.
Yeah.
There's the brush there if you need it, Ben.
Thank you. I'm coming over.
It's coming over. So again, we'll just make sure. So with the glitter card, it's just a case sometimes of breaking the connection between the actual glitter coating and the cardstock, but you can see all those pieces have come back there, and we've got that beautiful, in my case, that glitter cardstock die cut. So again, I think that was the last one there.
Yep.
All right, so if I put that on the white there, just look how pretty that looks in the glitter card.
Fab on that glitter card.
And then the other thing is to make sure, and it does take a couple of minutes or so, but it's worth doing, is to make sure you've got all the bits out of the inside of your die. If you run this through the machine now with your white cardstock and there are still bits in the die, you're going to get areas that don't cut properly because the cardstock in here is almost coming up to the same level as where the die cut edges are.
Okay.
So it's sort of setting yourself up to fail if you run it back through with a lot of pieces in there. Sometimes you get an odd one that's managed to sneak in there and you've missed it, and that's not such a problem. But if you've got a lot of them in there, it really is going to affect your next die cut. So I'm just literally going to spend a minute or so.
Me too. Popping
these through.
Do you find it, I don't know if this is just me, I find this quite satisfying. Picking the bits out of the die.
It is. And I tend to work in like little clusters. I'll sort of do like 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And this is just me with my OCD. And I just sort of get those little clusters going, and you find in no time at all. And there are 1 or 2 of these longer pieces here that you just have to sort of make sure you've released from the inside. So the bits that go around here, sometimes they just need to be popped out from the inside. But yeah, I'm just going to give you, as I say, a couple of minutes because I want you to make sure that that is clean before we die cut again.
I tell you what, whilst we're cleaning, I know this is not very glamorous having the bin on the side, but the reason I'm doing this is because I don't want our Jake had to get the vacuum cleaner
He
out
did,
yesterday.
bless him, yesterday. And he never said a word, did he? He didn't moan or anything. He just came in with the vacuum. It's like...
Well, he didn't say a word to you. I mean, after, he did not stop going on about it. So I said, for goodness sake, Jake, just get me a bin or just give me the vacuum cleaner. So I've just got the bin up on the side because I don't trust myself to aim these into the bin.
You're pinging them everywhere.
I will do because I'm not as skilled as some
I think you're doing a great job, Ben, and I love the fact that you want to craft along with us. I really do, because as I say, you've got your own job to do over there. And it's not easy when you're doing both parts of it. I get that. So I think you're doing a grand job. So you can see that it's only taken a couple of minutes, but I've got my die nice and clean to actually run through the machine a second time. So again, just get rid of all the bits here.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
You're with me.
Done.
My bin at the ready, and then what I'm going to do is take a piece of that and cut it down. There's no point in running unnecessary cardstock through your machine if you don't need to.
Oh, so we're same again now on the white, right?
On the white, you should have enough of your white stamping card left to cut a second one, and we're literally going to put them and stick them back to back, because this is actually, even though it's cardstock, it's quite flimsy. For it to be that pop-up element, it wants to be a decent sort of thickness. So we're going to cut it again and then stick them together. So again, I'm just going to do exactly the same. Pop it on there. Because it's the stamping card, I don't need my metal shim this time.
Okay.
I only put the metal shim in because I was cutting through the glitter card. So this time we're going to pass it through that machine, and we're literally going to...
the hat has fallen down behind Jan off the sea.
It has, hasn't it?
Yes, slightly fallen.
Yes. I'll see if I can rectify that.
It's all going wrong.
Mind you, I don't know whether I dare touch it. I don't want the whole thing to fall down.
Can you imagine? I
might not. I don't know whether I want that kind of pressure. Yeah, John would kill me, wouldn't he? Who touched the sign? Maybe we should just leave it sort of lurking there. Yeah. I'm not sure whether I trust myself. And then again, don't worry too much about your die this time. Concentrate on the actual die cut this time. So again, find those areas that are actually part of the design. Make sure you've got them released from the inside of the die. And then once you've got sufficient of it released at the top here, turn it over and then literally just start to ease those out.
I'm just reading the comments whilst they're doing this. Lynn says, now that's service. Way to go, Jake, bringing the coffees in.
Oh, bless them. They do look after us, don't they?
Nanny to the Girls says, love your craft alongs, Jan. You truly are a great teacher.
Thank you.
Mary Lee says, I love watching a new crafter succeed. Your joy is contagious, Ben. Well, I tell you what, my joy is unbridled because I really, really enjoy doing this. It's so much fun. Teresa's just said, Ben, don't let Leanne hear you banging that die. I just forgot, that's not allowed, is it, Jen? That's not allowed.
I must admit, it's not something I do. Right. I would rather spend the time to just take them out. I know a lot of them give it a good old whack. But the pieces go everywhere, and I can't cope with that kind of mess.
No.
It's like, I don't like it all over the floor, and I don't like people having to clean up after me. You know, it's I'm a big girl. If I make a mess, I can clean my mess up. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm a big boy. If I make a mess,
Yes.
I like to leave Jake to vacuum it up after the show.
Honestly.
I would not do that to Tracy. You're right, Nicola. So I know what would happen if I did.
And then because those are die cut, you've got a perfect match there. If you want to, you could just do the little shift where you get the drop shadow. So if you like that kind of look where we just alter it slightly, let me pop that over there so that you can see what I mean. Can you see how I've just got some of that white element showing there?
Yeah.
If you want to offset it so that you've just got that little bit, you can. I'm actually going to line mine up perfectly, and this is where your dotty tape pen comes into play. All right, so I asked you to pop both of your tape pens if you've got them.
Did you say for the white layer it's not as key to get all of the bits and pieces out of the die cut?
We are going to use the die again, but we're only going to use one of the feather areas. We're just going to put a scrap in it, so don't worry too much about whether the rest of the die is clean.
Right, okay.
It does take a little while.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, I'm going to turn over my glitter one, the front one, and I'm going to use my dotty tape pen in the direction of the die. I've just seen a pesky bit. There's always one little bit.
I've got loads of little bits this time that I can spot.
That's it.
It's annoying, isn't it?
There's always one bit there just hiding. So yeah, rather than come from all these bits at the end this way and risk dragging them up, I'm going to go in the same direction. So again, wherever the leaves are pointing out, I'm taking the dots out toward the edge, and then literally following the shape of it all the way around the edge.
So sorry, I'm a bit behind it. So you're on the back of the
I'm on the back of the coloured one, yeah.
Right, okay.
And literally, as I say, just follow the direction of the design. So if you've got the stems going up in the air, then follow that way with and get as many of those dots on the back as you can.
I'm just a little bit behind, don't you worry.
Have you cut your white one, Ben?
Yeah, I've done my white one.
Yeah, so don't worry too much about the die at the minute.
Oh, okay.
We can come back to that.
All right.
Okay.
So I need to tape up the back of me.
Yep. And then, because I am a little bit OCD, this bit's not necessary. If you're good with the dots, it's not really necessary. But I like to just pop a tiny little bit of the wet glue, and I've got the
You got the what?
tacky glue. That's
Tacky
the word
glue,
I'm
sorry.
looking. I just completely forgotten the word of it then. Got a blank. It just went blank completely. Yeah, I've got the PVA, the tacky glue, and I'm just popping just the odd bit here and there. I'm not going wild with it, but just as an insurance, because this is the pop-up element, you want to make sure that it is stuck down nicely.
Typical. Now I put my glue on, I've spotted loads of little bits and pieces that haven't come out.
Don't panic.
I'm not panicking.
We've still got, what have we got? We've still got like nearly 50 minutes left. Yeah. All right, so just where you can see that there's a decent sized piece, I'm just popping that little bit of glue, and then this should marry up perfectly with that white one. So I'm going to stick the glitter one onto the white one so that we've got a double thickness piece of die cut that's a bit more sturdy from the element of it being that pop-up piece. So again, just marry them up, do them one bit at a time. If you get...
Goodness me.
I don't know what he's doing over there.
I'm making a right old
banging
mess.
and clanging. Yeah, if you've got one side of it, the rest of it should just lay down nicely in the right place there. And again, just marry them up. Those little end bits just tweak into place so that one's laid over the other. If you're doing the little drop shadow, as I say, I tend to line it up and then go slightly to the right and slightly down so that you've got the drop shadow. And then again, give that a nice good press down. Okay.
It's not the easiest thing in the world to line up this, is it not?
You should, if you start at the bottom and make sure it's straight at the bottom, the rest of it should just lay over what's already there.
I think it's
and you're going to get that double strength piece now that's actually much more sort of durable than just the one layer on its own. So yeah, pop your fingers underneath the bulk of it here, Ben, like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just work on that little edge at the bottom. All right, rather than trying to lay it all down at once.
Yeah, I think I've...
Yeah,
Right, just about
and then if
got
you've
it.
got the bottom lined up, the rest of it should literally just smooth into place.
Well, I've created a nice little slight drop shadow
That's
with
fine.
mine.
Yeah, that's
And I'm gonna take
absolutely
that.
fine. That was the way that you designed it.
Yeah, exactly
that was
right.
Totally intended there. That's nice to have one of each to show, isn't it, at the end?
Yeah.
So
Oh,
mine's
it is
stuck
nice.
straight down. Yours has got a little drop shadow.
Yeah.
And we can show both techniques there, yep.
That's what I was going for.
Just like we planned. Okay, so this is going to be the piece then that eventually sticks inside our little bit that we created with that 1-inch score line that we folded up. So
Right.
this is going to be the pop-up element, and it was all designed, the sizes was all designed around the fact that that die needed to sit inside so that when it was closed, none of that die is actually showing. It wants to be concealed in this bit.
Yes.
All right, so that's where all the dimensions came. Started with the die cut and then worked outwards from there. All right, so again, we're just going to pop that to one side now. And then if you take your second choice of die, so mine was the entwining die,
Okay.
vines. I just thought the end of this was nice to just peek out. So whichever one you've decided. Now when I cut my matte layer here, the lilac-y one, or if you're using the turquoise, it should be the satin one.
Yeah.
I had a little bit left,
Yes.
if you remember, that we cut off the top here. And I've just kept that bit because it just happens to be roughly the right size. And all we need to do is cut a piece off the end of here. I don't need to cut the whole die.
Right.
We just want enough to peek out under this little edge here, which is
Under
only
the
an
flap.
inch deep.
Yeah.
So I'm going to cut it a wee bit longer so that we can stick it underneath and make sure it's secure. So yeah, I'm literally just, and I chose the top edge, all right, and I've actually turned it upside down. So if you look here, this is actually the top edge of the die with the leaves on, purely because there was a lot of branchy bits at the bottom and I didn't really like those bits stuck out at the bottom. So I'm going to cut along the top edge here. I'm just going to put the die onto that scrap, and that's going to be more than enough to trap in that 1-inch gap. Okay,
Yeah.
and then literally pop this through your die cutting machine again.
Just whilst we're cutting, a few comments coming through. Terry saying, Ben, you're so pleasing to watch crafting. Next craft along, let's graduate you to an electronic machine. Ooh. If your mind is blown by the MIDI, wait till you use the Gemini. And Caroline says, Jan, could you do it so that you have glitter card both sides by cutting from the back?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. If you wanted to see that glitter on both sides, or the colour on both sides for that matter, that is a perfectly good way to do it. And I'll just explain, who was that, Ben, that said that?
That was Mary.
Yeah.
Lee.
So
No, it wasn't. It was Caroline.
Caroline. So what Caroline was saying was, literally, because this die isn't symmetrical, if I've cut it once into the cardstock like so, and I cut a second one, when I come to marry them up, they're not, if I want to stick one on this side, they're not going to match. So what Caroline was saying was, is if you cut this onto the other side of the glitter card, like so, when I turn this round, it's going to be the right way round to marry up on the reverse of this piece. Does that make sense? If I cut it out this way, I'm going to have to turn it over to stick it down, and the glitter's going to get trapped inside.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So she's quite right. Because this is going to go on this way, I need to cut it from underneath so that when I flip it, it marries up to this one. But absolutely, if that's how you want to work it, that would look terrific with it on both sides.
And another question from Sophie, who says, the MIDI, can you do all the same things on the MIDI that you can do on the Junior, except for the foil press?
Can you do everything
On
on
the MIDI that you could do on the Junior?
that you can on the Junior? Pretty much. Pretty much. The only thing that differs with the MIDI is that you don't get the selection of shims. So you've not got the metal shim and things like that. But to be honest, I haven't found that you've needed it, because that system's slightly different with having the plastic plate, the plastic sort of sandwich to put them in. Even the glitter card, I've found, has cut. And what I tend to do if I'm doing glitter card in the Mini is wind it through and then wind it back again, so that you've had two passes through the actual machine there. But yeah, absolutely, pretty much everything that you can do, as long as it fits within the parameters of those plates, you should be able to do the same job. So again, take this one out, and you've just got that little piece of die cut there. I'm going to take the waste part away, take the tape off there, ta-da! And again, just pop out that bit that we need there. So just loosen some of the leaves, and you'll find that that bit should come straight out. Again, don't worry about your die. We don't need that one again. We can clean that out later. So this is the piece now. If I bring all this back together, we stuck our piece in at the top on the insert. We've got our little sticky up bit that we're going to pop the die cut on.
Yes.
Yeah. Then we created that little matte layer.
Yep.
And this piece I'm going to turn around so it's effectively upside down.
Right.
And this is going to stick on here before we pop that matte layer. So you can see just a decorative element for the end piece, because when it's closed, that bit shows. This is the bit that we're actually going to pull to release that mechanism. Okay?
Yes.
That makes sense?
Yes.
Right. So, again, I think we need to give people time to catch up again, Ben.
Absolutely.
Make sure that we're all at the same point,
let us know if there's anything else that you need repeating. Linda just said, going to try to make this with Christmas paper and put a tree in the middle.
Oh, fantastic.
Love
that will
idea.
Look nice.
Lots of love for my take, the drop shadow. Mary Pat says, I like the drop shadow. Lots of love saying the drop shadow works great. And Read the Hat, which is falling off our sign at the back, Susan says, didn't you use red liner tape on that hat? Maybe that's
clearly not.
We should have done that. Mary Lee just saying, Jan, you'll have to watch this later just to enjoy Ben's expressions. My expressions of wonder.
Did he have his tongue stuck out?
Horror. The tongues come out. I mean, all sorts of things going on over this side. Right, we will come back to this very, very shortly indeed. Let us just show you again, though, everything that you're going to get as far as the dies are concerned in this set. All of these dies you're going to get. I love the fact, again, that we've just used like an element of this entwining die set, which just goes to show, again, I think I always get stuck in my mind. You think, well, nice big sizable die there, got to use it all every single time that I use it. And no, it's absolutely not the case. You can use whatever part of you want of this to get the exact look that you want. But that entwining vines is included in the bundle. That
one would look great. But sorry, I'm interrupting you there, but this is a great one. One of the techniques that I like to do with something like this that's got an all-over pattern, so wouldn't work so well with the feathers, but with this one is to cut it out and then use maybe one of your nesting dies, like an oval or something, to cut an aperture out of the centre. And you'll end up with that lovely sort of die-cut frame then with the oval in the middle that you can then lay over the top of something. They look quite nice as well.
Lovely, great tip. You've got your butterflies included in here as well. Plenty of snippability with these too, particularly with those butterflies. You've then got the beautiful, beautiful perfect peonies. I just want to show you, can I stretch? Wait there, go gadget, arm, hoi, hoi, hoi. There you go. They didn't really work that, did it? But that was the card that Jan made this morning on Wake Up Call, which was your demo of the show. That was the paper piecing, and then the gilding wax on the black card. It never gets old, that. No. And then lastly in this collection, you've got the beautiful peacock feathers as well, which of course we've just used. You get all 4 of those dies and 16 sheets of your Nina cardstock as well. £13.10, £16.29 is your saving, or if you're platinum, $35.08 or $43.60. If it's paper pads you're after, who are you trying to kid? I know you've got loads of them, but you probably want some more. We've got your 12 by 12 pearl pad collection. We've got rainbow pearl, paisley pearl, and your blush and blue pearl collection. 60 sheets in total there for $44.14. Or $47.90 if you're platinum. And we say paper pads, but the weight on those is obviously it's 300 GSM, isn't it? So more like your top weight cardstock included in those pads. 60 sheets in total, as I say, $44.14 or $47.90. Let us go back to Norfolk. We've got Lisa, of course, crafting along with us. I think all looks pretty good, Lisa. How you doing? Whenever I look down and see you in the bottom of my monitor, you're smiling, which says to me that you're having fun.
Yes, so I've got my peacock feathers.
That looks lovely. Is that the mirror card, Lisa?
Yeah.
That looks gorgeous. That's got a real shine to it, hasn't it? Yeah, fantastic.
And then my layers, I'm using the Centuria Pearl turquoise, and I've got the gnome paper pad.
Oh, the gnome paper pad. That
with
works
the pink
lovely.
and
Great
the
combination.
turquoise.
Love
Yeah.
it, yeah?
Did you find layering up your feathers nice and easy to do? Was it just me who did the drop shadow effect?
Well, I've got half normal and half drop shadow.
Ah, good. So you've gone for the full normal, I've gone for the full drop shadow, you've gone for the half and half, Lisa.
Yes, I have.
Excellent. Between the three of us.
There's no right or wrong. This is what I love about it. You do you. You do what suits yours, yeah. And this is what I don't ever want anybody to say that you're doing it wrong.
No.
Because there's so many different ways. And I always reiterate this when I'm demoing, because I'll show you my preferences for doing things. That's not to say that there aren't many other ways of doing them. It's not just that, oh, Jan says you've got to do it like this. It's just how I've developed it over the years and how I prefer to do it. Doesn't mean it's the only way to do it. So yeah, please bear that in mind.
And do you know what I love most as well is the fact that, I've been working in the craft world, I suppose, for about 5 years, but I've not ever really done joined in with craft alongs and joined in with demos like I'm doing here, which I absolutely love. So you can definitely count me as a bit of a novice, but I'm feeling relaxed and able enough to do it. And like Lisa, who said, she only discovered crafting, say, a couple of years ago, we're all at different levels.
Yeah.
But the point of these is bringing everyone together. And like you say, doing it at the slow pace.
Yeah, breaking it down into those sections, so that you can see how things work. You know, we've done certainly, I know all the team are doing the craft alongs, but I know over the ones that I've done, we've done a lot of matting and layering, because even something like that, I know there's one or two of you out there that have constantly said, how do you get them straight? How do you do the layering technique with it? So we've literally done a lot of the matting and layering in there, so that now it should be becoming second nature to you, and that you can do that. You can get those panels built up, and it's becoming less stressful for you out there, yeah.
Couple of questions. One, which is sort of jumping the gun slightly, but don't worry. Cheryl on YouTube says, could you marry the feather pieces up on either side of the tab so that the design is complete on each side?
Yes, absolutely. Yep, you can do. I just chose to put mine on the front of it, because as you pulled it open, you see the front. But yeah, you can trap that little piece that we scored and put them either side. Absolutely, yep.
And this one, you'll probably say, hang on a minute, or will be revealed. What keeps the pull-out piece from coming out all the way?
Right, that's the next bit that we're going to do. That's our bit of plastic. Yeah, this is the secret ingredient, all right? So I hope you've all managed to find something suitable for this. It wants to be a decent sort of weight of plastic, but pliable. So acetate won't work. It needs to be able to sort of bend and fold. All right, so I'm hoping that everybody's been able to find something. Mine's just one of the plastic sleeves that I use for storage. Perfect for the job. And we're going to chop it down. I only need a piece off one end of it, and I only need a single thickness. All right, but I've got tons of these. I order them. I think they come in packs of 100, and I often cut a lot of my things down so that they fit in these, and then I've got them filed in a basket or labelled up with the, what's inside them. So I'm literally going to pop this in my guillotine now, just in its entirety for the time being, and I'm going to cut off a section that's 2.5 inches in width straight across the bottom of the bag. All right, so you can see there. So I'm going to keep this bit. That's going to do for any other techniques that I do. All right, and then we actually want this to measure 4.5 inches. So because there's a seal on each side, which was the edge of the bag, I'm going to take a little bit off each side. So it doesn't matter how much, as long as you've taken it down to 4.5 inches. All right, so I've now got both of those sides open. Yep.
Okay.
And then because I did the bottom part of the bag here, which was a little bit silly, we just need one layer of this. So where that fold is at the bottom, I'm going to put it back in at the 2.5 inch mark and just trim it in half, basically. So you've actually got enough to make 2 of these designs with that one cut that we've made. Now, I know they're not easy to see, so let me just pop them on there. You'll end up, because mine was double thickness, I've ended up with 2 pieces. I only need one of them, and that one piece measures 4.5 inches by 2.5 inches. Okay?
Would a storage bag work like a freezer bag, says Cheryl? Would that be too...
Yes, I would think they would be durable enough because obviously they're made to hold food stocks and things in the freezer, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they would be durable. You just want something that's not easy to tear.
No.
Because obviously this is the bit that the lady that's just mentioned stops this from pulling out.
Yeah.
It's attached to both these pieces, and that's what we're going to do and show you how that works.
Okay.
So it wants to be durable enough that it's not going to tear when you pull that inside piece out. This is actually quite robust, the bit that I've got here. And then we're just going to prep this ready. I'm going to take my my red line double-sided tape again, and on the same side, so on the front, I'm going to put one line of tape as close to the edge of here as you can get. So run it parallel with the edge of that piece of plastic, and it's not easy to show you on air because it's the worst thing ever to see, but I've got it right as close to the edge as I can.
Yeah.
And then snip that one level with your piece of plastic, and then on the same side, on the front, so my tape's here, I'm going to do the same on the opposite end.
Right.
All right, so right again, up to that far edge, as close as you can get it, up to the edge without it slipping off the side, and then snip it level with the edge of your plastic. So you should end up with your piece of plastic, so the long side vertical, and then the short sides on the same, so my tape's on the top of both of these, nothing underneath here, it's both on the top, piece of tape running parallel with each edge like so. All right, and then we'll come back to that one in a second.
Right, okay.
So we've got that bit ready.
Yes.
Okay, so a little bit more construction I think now. Let's work on this outside element, all right? So if you bring back in the pieces from the original die cut that we did that make that outside, this is going to be the actual sleeve that it all fits into.
Yeah.
All right. So on the piece that we scored, so you've got that top score line and the two at the side. Flip it over to the inside, and you want to put some tape down the edge of those tabs that we created. So I'm going down that long side, I'm going to down the opposite long side, okay, and then I'm going to go across the top as well. So all three of those tabs that we created, just by snipping into them, you should have those little 1/2-inch tabs, and they all want tape on the inside because we're going to fold this around this piece and stick it underneath. Right. You can see here on my original one where those pieces are stuck down. Yeah? So we'll actually do that, let me just think. Right, yeah. I'm just trying to work out what order I did it in. So we're just going to take off the top. I want you to leave the sides intact for the time being. Okay. And I'm just going to take the liner piece off the top. So I've exposed the sticky on that top tab. All right. And then the piece that we made that's going to fit on the inside, I've literally just popped that. Make sure you've got these that will fold around, but don't stick them down just yet. Make sure you've got clearance at both sides, and then be aware that we created that little tiny 1/16 of an inch spine. So just pop it up to the top, and then you can fold that top edge down in place. Okay, and then just burnish that one. So we've literally created that front section now. So that top tab that we popped the glue on, we've literally folded around the back and joined it together to make that long piece now. Okay, you all right there, Ben?
I'm just slightly behind.
That's all right, then we'll just let everybody catch up.
So this tab's going...
So I just put my piece face down inside it to just make sure you've got clearance on either side here, that these fold nicely without any buckling.
Yeah.
But we're leaving those for the time being and bringing the top one over to stick down.
Right.
Okay. And you should have that little tiny sort of spine piece running along the top. It really is just a sliver, but it does help with all the closure when we're finished.
Right.
All right.
So that's me. Oh, so I'm right there then, aren't I? Yeah, is that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So the long piece is the back.
Yep.
The front piece is the shorter piece with the little tabs on that are going to go underneath.
Boom.
Yep, boom.
Yes.
Right, so let me think what we're going to do next.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember which order I did everything in, because this bit that's fastened in needs to be done in the right order. So if you bring the white piece into play now, don't worry that we've not got anything down here. We can do that once it's fastened in.
Yeah.
All right. Pop this one to one side and bring in your little piece of plastic with your tape on.
Okay.
And I want you to take one of the red liners off of your piece of plastic, and then I want you to turn it over, and we're going to stick it flush with that edge, and that's the edge that's got the pop-up piece in. So the bit that we joined together, I'm going to centre it so that I've roughly got the same at either side here. Yeah? And I want to bring it level the best that I can with that top edge, so that it's nice and flush on the top edge of the card there.
I can't get the red liner tape off. Hang on, I'm a little bit behind you.
That's
I'll be
okay,
right
we
there.
can wait.
I'll be right there. Right, so I've taken me sticky off the top. Where am I sticking
Yep.
this again?
So you're going to sticky face down. You've got your piece that we made
Yeah.
with the tab. You want the shorter piece facing you,
Yeah.
the longer piece underneath.
Yeah.
And then I've lined up that sticky edge with the outside edge of my cardstock here.
Right, okay.
So try and get it as close to the edge as you can, and just sort of eyeball. I don't think mine's quite equal, but it doesn't matter for the sake of an 1/8 of an inch.
So like
and then
that?
once you're happy with it, you want to really burnish that. It wants to be stuck down well, because this is the bit that's going to work with that pulling in and out.
Okay.
Yeah? And then once you're happy that's stuck down well, I want you to fold the plastic away from you up to that tape line and almost make another fold in it, and then burnish that fold line in. So I've literally, if I put this underneath, I've gone from it being here, and I folded it against the tape,
Yeah.
and then really burnish that fold line into the plastic there.
Okay.
Okay?
I had Nicola in the gallery going, I've twigged how this works now. I'm still like, nah, still trying to work it out.
Right,
So
I've got to make sure I do it properly now, make sure it works. Okay? Right, so then we've got our piece that we've just made for the sleeve,
Yeah.
with the join at this left-hand side.
Yeah.
So I've got the longer piece at this end. Open it up,
Right.
all right? And then you're going to sort of line this one up
Yeah.
inside.
Mm.
Okay, now let me just think. That's it. Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
I'm just making sure now.
No, I don't blame you.
So you want to make sure that you've got nice parallel lines on each side. This wants to move straight in and out. If it's wonky, you're going to come into all sorts of problems. So just make sure that it's straight.
Yeah.
And then we're going to move it down. Okay, close this piece, and you want to move it until you can just see the piece of plastic here. I don't know whether you can pick that up on the camera. Can we zoom in a bit, Nick, so that we can just see that? You can just see my bit of plastic here poking out.
Right, yeah.
I'm going to move it back until that plastic's hidden,
Right.
and make sure that these two pieces here are still equal.
Yeah. Got
Yeah.
ya.
Hold that in place tightly.
Right.
Open this one.
Mm-hmm.
Keep this in place,
Yeah.
and then you're going to take the liner
Oh, pressure.
off here.
Right.
Make sure this doesn't move.
You do that so quickly.
Hold it in place, and then close this one two again.
Oh, no.
So it's going to stick inside.
Get off.
Okay?
Get off, you pesky thing. It's like you and your getting your backs off your phone. Come here. Nearly had you then.
Have you got it? Slide the pokey tool underneath the edge of it.
I've got it. I've got it.
Yeah?
Don't all watch me now. Don't watch me. Come on. Oh, now it's split. Come on. Oh, no. Don't all watch
Right, go
me.
the other
What
way,
is it?
Ben. Go from this side underneath it, rather than coming from the top. Go underneath your tape from this edge
Oh,
here.
from this edge.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And you should be able to just slide your pokey tool underneath the red line.
Yeah. Come
That's
on.
it.
Come on.
And then pull it across.
Get out of there, you.
That's
Oh.
it. So make sure that bottom piece hasn't moved. Make sure those sides are still nice and equal.
Yeah.
And then close that flap onto the sticky bit, and it'll stick to the inside of that panel. All right. And then this is where the magic happens, because we can now push that bit inside, whoops, here, and it should go all the way in.
Oh, and it's not stuck. It's not stuck. Why is that not stuck? Oh, I've taken all of the sticky off. And the whole bit of the red liner tape has come off. So why is that not stuck?
I am sure that you probably are not the only person that's done it, Ben. So let's revisit it. Don't worry.
That's
let's
fine.
revisit.
I can just put another bit on.
Yeah. So pop another piece on the end of your plastic.
Yeah.
And we'll go through that again just to make sure that everybody's got it, because it is tricky, that bit.
Yeah.
I had to really think about how I'd done that at home, because I did these sort of midweek and I wanted to make sure that we got it right. The last thing I wanted to do was mess up your designs. So yeah, what I find, Ben, is if you've got your tape along the edge here, first of all, burnish it really well to make sure there's no air bubbles under the red, and then bring your pokey tool underneath it and lift the tape, and then you can grab the tape with your finger and pull it away.
Yeah.
So trap the tape between the pokey tool and your finger and just lift that red line off there.
Yeah, I just need to measure up again where I want that to be.
That's all right,
so.
yeah. So you folded it back. You're going to pull it so that you can just get it level. You don't actually want to see the plastic,
No,
so just
about
tuck
there.
it back underneath until it's level. And then the key is to make sure that each side is nice and level. Yep. And then once you've done that, open it up. You see, mine won't open all the way up again now because it's stuck. Open it up. Keep this bit in place. So I swapped hands so that I'd got my right hand to lift the red line tape off.
Do you know what it is? It's because I'm all fingers and thumbs, and I know I've gone in the wrong place again here.
Go from underneath it. That's it, that way. Push your pokey tool up from underneath it.
Yeah, I should probably put my glasses on as well. Come on, get off there. I have got it, I think. Here we go. Or is it taking the whole lot off again? I keep taking the whole lot
So
off.
really give it a good burnish.
I tell you what, this is not riveting TV
It's
at all.
As I say, you'll not be the only person. All right.
It is the teacher. There you go. That's better. I went in the middle.
Have you
that
got
time.
the sticky there this time?
Yeah, I've got sticky there this time.
So make sure everything's straight, and then close that flap.
Yeah.
And make sure that that's stuck down now.
You
inside.
better work this time. I'm warning you. If you don't stick.
That's it. See, if at first you don't succeed,
Give it a good bash.
that's it.
Now, hopefully.
Are we good?
So that will.
So then, if you just
Yes!
and it should go all the way back in.
Yeah.
Until that shorter piece at the top, the short white piece,
Yeah.
comes flush with the edge of your
Can we?
case.
We just quick.
Can we just
Quick.
take a moment to appreciate? Let's have a look. Nice and gentle. And then back in again. Perfect.
Yes.
There you go.
He did it.
Okay. So
Thank
now
you.
that we've got that piece in place, don't mess too much with it.
No.
It'll have a little curl in it when you open it up here. But obviously it's not meant to be open. We're going to stick this together now. So keep this closed.
Yep.
All right. Don't interfere with what's happening inside it. That plastic will do its own thing inside. Turn it over now. And we can now stick these side tabs down.
Oh, not more.
So we've got some more red line tape then for you to practice on. So again, all I do is just slide the pokey tool under the edge of it.
Yeah, when I'm not being watched, it does it perfectly.
And then literally pop that out. Do them one at a time, making sure that everything stays nice and straight, and then just fold that one round and secure it on the back. And I always use my bone folder just to squish out any air bubbles that are trapped in the tape. Okay? And then flip it round, and we're going to do the same on the other side.
Yeah.
And again, fold that one round. And that's why we took, do you remember at the beginning, we took that slight slither off the end of that long piece so that these pieces would fold around the edge. And then you should end up with your sleeve.
Come on, this is looking
and
awesome.
then you should end up with your piece that slides.
This is awesome.
And if you just pull it far enough, it'll pop out and expose the bit that we've already decorated. So just pull it, you'll feel it click. A bit further. Ooh.
Oh, hang on. Don't think I can put. Is it coming?
Just on the white bit.
Yeah, I am doing.
It should just come far enough that it pops out.
I don't know if mine's popping out. I think it. Oh no! What a disaster!
And it should just
How's
click
It'll pop out.
and reverse that bit.
Oh. Well, you carry on. I'll try and figure this out.
Okay. So just try at home, guys, and see whether you've got that mechanism working.
I think
So
mine
if you
is.
fold it together, push it back in, you should have that equal border around the outside here of the edge. And it is loose, this bit. It should, you know, it's not meant to be stuck down. But then when you lift it here and pull, it should, that's why we said to be careful that you lined it up with the edge of the clear plastic. You should get that extra little tug and it should bring out that top piece and pop out.
I might need a minute.
I
We'll
might
carry
need a
on with
minute.
Jan. Don't worry. You
It's
guys
all
carry
right.
on. Go without
We'll
me.
figure it out. We'll look at it at the end and find out what's happened, because
Yeah.
we've done the hard bit now.
Yeah.
The rest of it is the decorating. So you created your matten layer for the front. We can now get that piece stuck on. All right, and again, because I'm going to go on to that pearlescent cardstock, I'm actually going to use my red line tape, I think. So
Okay.
you've got choices. You can either stay with the collal, you can stay with the tape pen, but again, because mine's onto pearlescent card and it has got a coating on it, I'm going to use this to make sure that it's stuck all the way down. So you should still be able to do the decorating, Ben. We just need to figure, it may be that you just got it a little bit too far back,
I have. That is the problem. It just
Yeah.
it's literally just like
an eighth of an inch or so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you actually laid it down and brought it level, maybe it was just that little bit too far back, that's
I think
all.
it was the panic of not being able to get the red liner tape
Oh,
off. It
bless
just
you.
threw me out, Jan.
Oh,
It threw
you've
me
done
out.
so well. So I'm literally just going to go around here. So whatever your chosen adhesive is, I like to know that things are stuck down and they're not going to lift up and do any damage. So again, with the red line, the key is to just make sure that you've got rid of all those little air bubbles. Okay, and then I'm just going to put a bit of that in the centre, just for good measure.
Are you decorating the top now?
I'm just putting the top piece on, yeah, and literally take those pieces off. And I've just took just one side off until I get it in the right place, and then hover over the top there, and you should just have that little tiny border. And then I'm going to stick that one side down. And then once I've got that and I'm happy with it, release the rest of the red line just with that pokey tool.
Yeah.
And then pull those out. And I can make sure that everything's stuck nice and firm then on the front. We've got that lovely matten layer for the front there.
Okay.
So there's a little bit of decorating to do on the front. I'm not too fussed if we don't get that done, because that's easy to just talk you through and finish off at home. All right, so what we're going to do next is we're going to expose that pop out section again. All right, and we had our piece of die cut that's going to go in the bottom.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go to my dotty tape pen again for this one. Just do it on the back of here, nice and light, and I'm going in the direction of the die again up towards the end of the leaves. So nice and light on there. Get as many dots on those little pieces that are stuck out, particularly that end that's going to be seen. The rest of it's going to be trapped underneath the matten layer. And then this one's going to go right at the bottom with a little bit of a border so that you can just see it peeking out here. And then stick that one down. And then our matte layer that we did for the inside can now trap that piece underneath. Okay, so again, whatever your chosen is going to be for here, I'm going to go, and this, I'm always flicking between glues for what I want it to do and what I want it to sort of, you know, thinking of longevity of things and what it's got to stand up to as to which glue I use for which purpose. So again, I'm going to go with the collal because this will set nice and firm. And again, there's just enough to leave a little white border. I know it's white on white, but I explained why I popped you that extra layer in so that you couldn't, I'd got a lot of ridges under here from the die cut with just the paper layer. Okay.
Well, I've taken my inside out now just to decorate it.
Oh, bless
It
you.
wouldn't come out, but listen,
All right.
it's a good effort.
And then the last bit we're going to do is just line this up and stick it to that insert. Now what you want to make sure is that the whole of that die fits inside that matte layer. You can just see here at the bottom, you don't want any sticking out, otherwise when it closes, you're going to have a bit of it peeping out at the bottom.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that it fits nicely inside that layer. And then you only want glue on the bottom edge. If you remember, this piece was 1 inch deep. So I'm just going to put glue on the bottom of that feather. Just got a little bit stuck on there. I'll get rid of that bit. Yeah, so just on the bottom here of these pieces of the feather, I'm just going to put some wet glue on here because I want a nice good bond.
Yeah.
Literally just eyeball about 1 inch up your design. Because if you get glue too high up, you don't want to stick the whole thing together. And then press that piece down and just hold that in place for a couple of seconds. You want to make sure that that's stuck down really well. And that's why I've used the tacky glue, because you do get a nice good bond on there.
Good stuff.
Okay, and then once that's stuck, we can fold the whole thing back together. We can slide this back inside, and you've got that decorative element here at the front. Okay.
I'm just laughing because I've almost done it, and there's a few people going, oh, don't worry, you know, we've all had things that go wrong, and you know, I've made upside down back to front cards. I've literally done it in like 2 parts, but I think what I did is I stuck the the mechanism bit too far back. That's what it was.
Yeah, just not that last little bit.
Yeah, so it wouldn't pop up.
All right, so
there we
then
go.
once we've got that all together, finger underneath the white layer and just gently until you'll feel the resistance on it, and then that last little bit will pop it open and you've got that lovely die cut inside. All right, now the only things we haven't done are the sentiments and any decoration that you want on the front. So what I'm going to do is quickly stamp the inside with you guys, and then I'll talk you through, because I can see the timing again.
Got 10 minutes left.
You've got 10 minutes. Well, we'll do as much as we can.
Okay.
So I've just taken a With Love to go inside here. All right, just chosen this. This is one of my go-to sentiment sets. It came out with the Nature's Garden Lily collection, and it's got a really nice range of good size sentiments, and you know, I use it over and over and over again. So again, I'm just going to pop that on my little stamping platform, and you can do all this before you pop it together if you wish. And again, I've just got some black quick dry ink to go on there, and then you're sort of aiming roughly for the centre of this bit now, so just around about where the centre of the design is, and then pop that down and you've got your sentiment inside your design there.
Fab.
Okay, so just With Love inside. All right, just give that is the quick dry, so I don't need to worry about whether it's dry or not, and then you can pop your card back together. It should just nicely fold back inside. And then for the front, how are we doing? We've got 8 minutes left. We might not quite get all of it finished, but I'll talk you through. What I did was just take a scrap. So in this case, it's going to be a scrap of my glitter card to match the outside.
Oh yeah, okay.
All right, and I've just cut a piece big enough to fit over one of those feathers. So for example, if I'm going to use one of these heads of the feathers, just literally put this over it and die cut it out so that you've just got that one piece, and then you snip away the bit that you need, all right, to do this. And then you should have some scraps of stamping card left, so whatever you've got left, I've stamped the other sentiment here. Yeah. And again, just using scraps that are left, I've got all sorts of bits of cardstock left over here that I can dip into and use. I've just matted and layered that, and I've raised this bit on some little foam pads and trapped the die cut behind it to make that front section. And then, me being me, a card is never ever finished for me without a few little gems. Of course. So I've got a nice one in the centre of the design here. Beautiful. And then these are actually like Aurora Borealis ones, which I thought were nice with the peacock. So they change, depending on what angle you get them at, they sort of change colour. They're beautiful. I've got a little stash of them. All right. So again, I'm going to leave you to choose what you want to pop on the front, because I can just see how time's ticking away. Yeah, we're going to check in. I think we're going to check in with our Lisa again. Yeah. And just make sure that everybody, and there's no questions that we need to answer before we leave them, Ben.
I think we're pretty good actually. Evelyn saying, this is an amazing card, Jan. Perfect style of card, says Samantha, to attach to the top of a handmade box of goodies for a friend.
Yep.
And Tony saying, gorgeous cards so far, Jan. Can't wait to see the final make. I cannot wait to see Lisa's final make, which she's got ready. I think she's done it. Let's have a look. Does it pop up, though, is the question.
Yeah.
Lisa?
Ta-da!
Yeah, that's amazing.
Well done. Absolutely
Smashed it.
amazing. Yeah, that looks great. I love the
Brilliant.
papers
Thank
in
you
there.
so much.
Yeah. There you go.
Is that a card that you think you'll recreate again, Lisa?
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
It's a
yes.
real nice one, isn't it? Because it's like there's no clue as to what's inside. I'm just thinking, all those gentlemen out there that have got a certain question that they might like to ask their partner.
Jan!
Yeah, can you just imagine? Will you?
Yeah.
I'm not putting words in
That's a
anybody's
great
mouth,
idea.
but yeah, can you just imagine that inside there? That would be great, wouldn't it? Yeah. But as long as everybody understood that little bit with the plastic bit is the key part to it.
Yeah, as
getting
I've shown.
As Ben found out, and I reckon it was probably about 1/8 of an inch
Yeah,
that you
it
were
was.
out, Ben, that's all. Yeah, but as long as everybody got that bit, that's the main part of it in order for it to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm thrilled with that.
Lisa, congratulations. That is absolutely brilliant. Did you enjoy the experience again?
Did, yes, thank you very much. Jan's a really helpful teacher. She's very efficient.
Yes.
Informative.
And very thorough.
Yes.
At least one of her pupils today managed to pull it off, and I'm glad it was you, Lisa. Johnny just said you passed. I've got to stay behind for extra crafting after school.
Bless you.
So there we go. But Lisa, brilliant stuff. Are you going to come back and join us on another craft along in future?
Yes, and I'll post pictures of this one when I finished it on
Yes,
the front.
that'd be great. Yeah, I'm glad you've enjoyed it, Lisa.
Brilliant
Thank you
stuff.
very much.
Send the pictures through to us as well, Lisa, and we'll show those up on Craft House a little bit later on.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Lisa.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Fantastic stuff. And if you've been crafting along with us as well at home, don't forget you can send your pictures into us, studio@crafterscompanion.co.uk. I'm going to try and do a little bodge fix on this.
We'll have a look at it, Ben,
Yeah.
when we've gone off air. I'm sure we can fix
But
it.
also like you, just to decorate the front of the card as
Yeah.
well, which would be amazing. Loads of you commenting, as I say, saying how much you've loved the craft along. And if you want to get the deal, if you haven't yet got it, then you can grab it right now for £35.08 if you're platinum, or $43.60. These are those beautiful peacock feathers that we've been using over the course of this demonstration. Within this set as well, there are the beautiful entwining vines that you've got as well. They're also included, along with these stunning butterflies. And then you've got your perfect peonies as well. Again, that was the die that Jan used earlier on this morning on Play Your Crafts Right. Also in this deal, you're going to get yourself the 16 sheets of Nina cardstock as well. And that is £35.08 today, or $43.60 if you are a platinum member. Of course, we have got another show coming up this evening in just over 2 hours' time. We are going into the Craft House, and again, if you missed our Play Your Crafts Right show earlier on, then make sure you're back to watch us, because we've got brand new goodies from Creative Expressions. Not only a beautiful set of floral corners and border dies, but the most cute, amazing set of stamps as well, which are just, well, the cutest thing ever, Jan, aren't they?
Are they selling fast as well, I think, Ben? Yeah, they are really cute. Designed by Jane Gill, who's one of the Creative Expressions teams, their designers, and they are absolutely adorable. And I think, from what my producer's saying, they're selling really fast already. So yeah, I hope they're still there for when we start the show at 7 o'clock.
A fifth of the stock gone, and we literally showed them for a brief portion during Play Your Crafts Right earlier on. They are the cutest stamps, and even if you're saying to me tonight, oh, I don't have much of a budget to spend, you'll want to grab these because they're under £20, and the artwork is phenomenal. So make sure you join us for that a little bit later on. I've thoroughly enjoyed this craft along. Just about got there, sort of ish.
We'll fix it, don't worry.
Hey?
We'll fix it.
No, but do you know what? In a way, though, I'm kind of glad that I didn't quite get there, if you know what I mean, because at least now I can spend some time with you, see exactly where I went wrong, come back and try again.
I'm still not jingling your bells, though.
Hey?
Even if you come and spend some time, I'm still not jingling your bells.
Let's not go on about that again. No, but the point is, I definitely want to come back and try that again, because it is a concept that once you get your kind of measurements...
It is, and I literally think we're talking, as I say, about 1/8 of an inch that you've just got the tape in the wrong place, and I think it's going to be easily fixable.
Yeah.
I also have, I'm back again, not tomorrow, but next Sunday. I've got another craft along next Sunday.
That's with me.
Are you in again, Ben? Yeah. And that's using those beautiful slimline cut and emboss folders. Now, I haven't designed the project yet. That's my work when I get home after today, after the weekend. But yeah, I'm going to come up with something again for that one, and we'll have you crafting along if you're in again next Sunday, Ben.
I am here for that.
No peace for the wicked.
We've got a craft along tomorrow as well, actually, but you're not in. It's Debbie Robinson, and she doesn't put little packs for me together, and doesn't let me, which is probably just for the best, isn't it, really? It's probably just for the best.
Who knows what you might get. I know our Debs.
I'm going for a lie down. You guys, if you have crafted along with us, send in those pictures and we will show them during our craft house a little bit later on. But a big thank you to Jan, big thank you to Lisa as well. We'll catch you in the craft house at 7 o'clock, 2 o'clock East Coast. We'll see you in a bit. Bye for now. Oh, man.